Hare Krishna. Namaste. Chapter 6, entitled as Dhyana Yoga, Sloka 24 and 25. saṅkalpa-prabhavān kāmāṁs tyaktvā sarvān aśeṣataḥ manasaivendriya-grāmaṁ viniyamya samantataḥ śanair uparamed buddhyā dhṛti-gṛhītayā ātma-saṁsthaṁ kṛtvāna kiñcid cintayet. Therefore it is taken as one complete set. Likewise, these two slokas has same opinion. The theme of these two slokas is about mamakara, mindness. This is something that we have seen quite few times in previous chapters, but that is being elaborated here with some difference. Mamakara means mind. So giving up the mamakara buddhi, the sense of mindness, is the focus of these two slokas. One might ask, well, we already covered this in previous slokas, previous chapters, especially karma yoga. So why are we discussing here the same? As one need to give up mamakara to come to this current stage. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come to this level. So the answer is, mamakara that must be given up, which was discussed in karma yoga, is based on I am not the doer. I am doing this action not to attain anything in return. And this is not my karma. Whereas here, the mamakara that's been focused on is to give up the thought of the objects that belongs to us. Otherwise, it becomes an hindrance in one's yoga practice. One's desire for son, grandson, land, any of this attachment arises. A sense of mindness. That is what has been mentioned here as mamakara to be given up. Let's see the word-by-word translation. Saṅkalpa, mental speculation that arises from the sense of possessiveness. Mind, mamakara. Kāmāṁs sarvān, all objects of desire. Manasaivendriya, by thinking as not belonging to oneself. aśeṣataḥ, entirely or completely. tyaktvā, renouncing. That is, one has to give up using the same means by which one attained it. Manasaiva aśeṣataḥ tyaktvā. If I have taken something through my hand, I have to give it up by releasing that object from my hand. If I have taken up something by my mind, then I cannot give it up by my hand. I have to give it up from the same thing that I picked up from. In this case, the attachment happens to the mind. Therefore, the detachment should also be initiated by mind. Should be started by or given up by the mind. It should be the same. Indriya-grāmaṁ, all the senses. Samantataḥ, from all matters. Viniyamya, regulating. dhṛti-gṛhītayā, through determination and courage. śanair, gradually. Uparamed, withdraw from other interest. manaḥ, therefore the mind. ātma-saṁsthaṁ kṛtvā, focusing on the self. kiñcid, any other things whatsoever. cintayet, should not think of. The translation is, one should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. One gets attracted or pulled by the sense object, and this sense object becomes the goal of the senses. The senses get attracted to the sense object because of the impression, vasanas, that's been carried from many life, which arises the desire to enjoy these sense objects. Therefore, what has been told here is to control all the senses. How we do that? By completely having a convinced mind. Mind should be completely convinced. Having the mind meditate upon Atma. And how can the mind be convinced? The direction or instruction comes from the buddhi, the intelligence, concentrated intelligence. Buddhyā dhṛti-gṛhītayā. By this intelligence, the mind gets a good instruction to follow and focus on the Atma, not on any other things, especially not having that mamakara. And all these things are gradual process. It's not that I start today and everything changes overnight and tomorrow I am as per the 24th, 25th Sloka. And that's not an expectation or expected. It's a gradual process. One should have determination to continue the practices. So, the very first action that needs to be done is to give up the mamakara, which raises to desires and then stops us from proceeding to yoga. Therefore, one has to give up the desire that arises by mamakara. And the last action is not to think of anything else, but only focus on the Atma, self. There are two types of kāmāṁs that's going to be mentioned. We will learn and how to give up these kāmāṁs and what's the relationship between buddhi and manas. These things will be discussed in our next session. Namaste. Hare Krishna.